All right, hey everybody. Dr. Shawn Talbott here. I'm going to get started in about 5 minutes. Okay, so if you're already joining, give me just a minute to get everything up and running. Here's the PowerPoint. You can see what our topic is going to be tonight, and I just want to do a couple of things before we get going. Okay, looks like we're in good shape. We're going to start right at the top of the hour, which is in about 4 minutes. Okay, be right back. All right, hey everybody, just turned the top of the hour, so let's get rolling into our topic tonight. I was having trouble, or I still am having trouble, streaming this, live streaming this to YouTube. So that's why I was in the background trying to figure this out. So we're not going to be able to live stream tonight, so I'll just have to post the recording tomorrow. So there, it'll be up on YouTube by afternoon tomorrow. And tonight, what we're going to talk about is this: are you doing gut health wrong? Gut health is a hot area right now, right? Everywhere you look across sort of the wellness sphere, there's lots of people doing, and I'll do this in quotes, gut health. And I think a lot of people, a lot of companies are doing it wrong. A lot of consumers are doing it wrong. And I say wrong because a lot of people are not focused on the right things, right? Gut health, sort of in quotation marks like that, is a big category, right? I talk a lot about gut health, but I talk about it in a very particular way, as the gut as a second brain, the gut as the source of a lot of your neurotransmitters, the gut as something that can modulate your mental wellness in a lot of really important ways, what your mood is and what your level of tension versus calmness or fatigue versus energy and all that kind of stuff. But what I see a lot of times, and I posted a short little video about this on LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook and all those places, like, like a 2-minute video, that a lot of companies fall into this problem that you can see on the title slide right here, trying to get more strains into a product or more CFUs. So I'll talk more about CFUs later, but CFU is kind of like the strength, or the potency of the particular probiotic that we're talking about. Companies fall into, and because of this, consumers fall into the trap of thinking that more strains are better or more CFUs are better. And that's definitely not the case. And then there's the question of, why should you be taking a probiotic or a prebiotic anyway, if you're trying to improve your gut health? So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And what I'll do is I want to talk sort of broadly about why you might care about gut health or why you should care about gut health. Then we'll talk about some good products, right? I want to give you, I don't want to just say like, hey, everyone's doing it wrong. I want to be able to point out specific products that are out there that say, look, here's a really good one for bloating. Here's a really good one for diarrhea. Here's a really good one for et cetera, right? I have several very good examples of like, mainstream products you can just go find. But I'll also give you some examples of what to avoid, right? How to point out, how to figure out like, oh, this is not a great product. I'm going to go choose something else, because there's lots of junky products out there, but there's also a lot of good products out there. So I want to help you try to find those. Okay, so before we get into it, I've got 1, 2, 3 sort of like lead-in slides just so everybody knows who I am. Here's all my background and all the blah 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 that why am I qualified to talk about this kind of stuff? You can look at all the bullet points in at your own leisure. The point I think is important to make, though, is that I'm trained as a nutritional biochemist. That's what my PhD is in. A lot of the work that I do nowadays is called nutritional psychology, the link between food and mood, or a nutrition and how you feel or perform. So a lot of what I talk about is biochemical in nature. What I don't like, and I don't think people who listen to me like, is for me to say, hey, here's this food, eat it, you'll feel better. Or here's this nutrient, supplement with it, you'll feel better, right? People want to know why. Like, why should I take that nutrient or that food? Like, how is it going to help me feel better? And that's why I like to get into the biochemistry of, well, it's doing this in your microbiome, or it's doing this across your gut-brain axis, or it's changing that neurotransmitter so that you feel happier or more motivated or more relaxed or whatever the case may be. Okay, so like that's what I like to do, right? Is that education piece. So whether you like it or not, right? You're gonna get that, because again, I don't want you just to say like, hey, here's this great product, you should take it because I think so. I want you to like understand how it's working and what it's doing, and if you do that, then you can sort of self navigate a little bit better in this space. So my company that I've set up is called Three Waves Wellness. We were recently named a Startup Star of 2026, which is really cool. And the reason for that is that what we're trying to do is create this holistic world, right? The holistic mental fitness company. And it's not just about products, right? I like products. Like, I'll say 1 or 2 words about, my favorite product, which is this product called Zenith. I have one slide about that later on tonight, because I think it's a good example of a product that is a psychobiotic. So I'll use that as one of my, I don't know, five or six examples that I have tonight. But it's not just about products, right? What our company is about is we have a mental fitness retreat here in Plymouth, Massachusetts, where we bring people to have experiences around mental fitness. We have a training program around teaching people how to not just learn for themselves, but learn enough so they can help other people as certified mental wellness coaches. And that program is endorsed by a number of different health organizations: American College of Sports Medicine, National Association for Nutrition Professionals, et cetera, et cetera. We also have an online mental fitness community for people to interact with each other around these ideas of the microbiome and the gut-brain axis and the food-mood connection and all that kind of stuff. And we have some products. The only product I'm going to talk about tonight is Zenith. Like I said, one slide a little bit towards the end of the presentation. I also have a lot of free stuff. So if you want to go to my main education website, which is doctalbot.com, you can read my blog. You can see link outs to my YouTube channel. You can download a bunch of free books. There's a free ebook right now about peptides, which is also a very hot area. There's a free ebook about nootropics and adaptogens and psychobiotics, things that can help you sort of navigate this stressful world better. They're free. You can go and get them. And I'm really excited that my next book, which comes out in January, is pretty much done. I know that they're printing the ARCs, which ARC stands for ARC, Advanced Reader Copies. So I'm going to actually get to see it in sort of a, early print version. These are the ones that we send out to reviewers and things like that. We send out I'll send it out to a bunch of other scientists, and, they'll hopefully read it and, write me a nice blurb about, this is the best book I ever read, kind of thing. So super excited about that one. It's called Wild Medicine. It's all about all the different sorts of, like my favorite herbs that I've discovered across the world. Not really discovered, but like run into. It talks about, here's my top five for heart health. Here's my top five for gut health, which is what we're talking about tonight. But it also is it's like a travel log, right? I've got a lot of stories in there about people I've met along the way, different countries I've visited, meeting the people who actually grow a lot of these herbs, so it was a really fun book, fun book to put together. Okay, let's get into the meat of what we're talking about tonight. So, probiotics are a big category. And what I decided to do with this is, we're talking about gut health, but I thought I would focus on probiotics because that's the biggest category of gut health. Prebiotics are starting to catch up. These are the fibers that, that feed the bacteria in our gut. Postbiotics, which are sort of like signaling molecules, they're starting to catch up. What I call phytobiotics, which are plant extracts, are starting to catch up, but still probiotics, the actual bacteria, are the biggest part of this overall gut health channel. You look at the numbers, it's almost $75 billion. That's a lot of money. And it's growing very rapidly every single year. Okay, but it's a really confusing space. If you've ever tried to go like to an actual store, you go to a Whole Foods or you go to your grocery store or your pharmacy or something like that. There's a lot of products out there. It's almost overwhelming when you try to do it online, right? You go to Amazon or you go to iHerb or you go to, a lot of our certified mental wellness coaches will have their own dispensaries, right, at Fullscript or MHP or one of the other channels that specializes in like high end, high quality, high potency practitioner level supplements. Even there, it's really overwhelming, even if you're an expert, right? To try to parse. Well, is this a good one? Is that a good one? So, like before we get into is this a good one or is that a good one? Let's talk a little more broadly about where'd my cursor go? Here it is. Let's talk a little more broadly about why you would want to consider gut health. All right. Well, like why do we care anyway? Right. One of the challenges that I run into when I talk to either clients or students or other health professionals is the mistaken notion that you don't have to worry about gut health if you're not experiencing a gut symptom, right? So sometimes people will say, well, I don't really care about gut health because I don't have stomach aches or I don't have nausea or I don't have gas or bloating or diarrhea or heartburn or, I don't have a gut thing going on. So why should I care about that organ, right? Well, the reason is because what you see on the screen right now, your gut actually affects every other tissue in the body. So if you've ever heard me, lecture before, in these master classes, I talk a lot about this one right up here, which is the gut-brain axis. So the gut is communicating with the brain so much so that we call the gut the second brain. So I talk about that one a lot. But look at all these other axes. I talk frequently about the gut-heart axis, but look at all these other ones. The gut-brain endocrine axis. This is talking about your hormones. The gut-lung axis, the gut-liver axis, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the gut is sending, and what all that means is the gut is sending signals to all these other tissues, and sometimes vice versa. The tissues are sending signals to the gut. So they're always communicating with each other. So I actually have an example tonight of a specific bacteria, probiotic, that you can supplement with that will do something in the gut that will have a benefit on your skin. So your skin will look better in certain ways if you supplement with this specific strain of bacteria. So it's having a gut effect that manifests as a skin benefit. And I'll walk you through exactly how we think that happens. So that's why you should care about gut health, is because what happens in the gut doesn't stay in the gut. It permeates out to all these other tissues. And if we can understand whatever is happening in the gut, we can change what's happening in that tissue. So we can use the gut as this very targeted, modifiable organ, I guess you could say, that is going to affect a particular target tissue, right? So, in our mental wellness coach course, we talk about if one of our clients is having a problem with their mental fitness, they are not as happy as they want to be. They're not as relaxed as they want to be. There's not as energetic or motivated as they want to be. It might not just be a brain problem. It might also be a gut problem. So we're looking at the gut as a way to modulate what's happening in the brain. Okay, so we can use the gut as what's happening in the immune system. We can look at what's happening in the gut as what's happening in the cardiovascular system or happening with your metabolism. Like the biggest category of drugs right now, these GLP-1 agonists, Ozempics and Mounjaros and Zepbounds and all that kind of stuff. Those are having their injections, they're peptide injections that you're doing, but they are like what you're injecting is a chemical that is similar to something that is made in your gut. They're naturally made gut peptides that have signaling effects that change your insulin sensitivity, that change your blood sugar metabolism, that change your appetite, that change your drive for food, that change your. You guys get the idea, right? So what happens in the gut impacts what happens in the rest of the body. And the more that we understand that, the more that we can say, ha, let's use the gut as a means to an end to improve my skin or improve my lung function or improve my muscle function or improve my fat mass, whatever. Okay. What you're looking at on the left-hand side of this graphic, it's a very busy graphic, I get it. A lot of information on this. Is showing us where the bacteria predominate across the gastrointestinal tract. So what you'll see is most of them, 99% of them, are in your lower digestive tract, your large intestine or your colon. So you can see here we're talking, 10 to the 10, 10 to the 11th. This is billions and trillions of bacteria that are in your gut. So usually when we're talking about the gut, in terms of your microbiome and your bacteria, we're talking about the lower part of your digestive tract. There's a little bit of bacteria in your small intestines. There's a little bit of bacteria in your stomach. There's a whole different microbiome in your oral cavity, but the magnitude of the bacteria is actually in the lower part of your GI tract. So that's where 99% of your microbiome is. So before we get into the sort of the supplement piece of gut health, let's talk about a broad brush approach to improving gut health, and that's fermented foods. People will ask me all the time. They'll tell me, well, I do fermented foods. I do sauerkraut or kimchi. We had a whole big discussion about kimchi a couple of weeks ago. A big paper came out on kimchi showing that kimchi can prime your immune system, and that's a really nice thing. But what you see on the slide right now is that all these different fermented foods, whether they're cultured milk fermented foods like kefir and yogurt, whether they're kombucha is fermented tea. There's all kinds of fermented soy products like tempeh and miso. Kimchi is fermented vegetables. Sauerkraut is vegetables. Pickles are vegetables. And then, fermented, other stuff, what wine, beer, cider. The fermentation process is the bacteria acting on the not the sugars, I guess the sugars, but the acting on the carbohydrates in the vegetables or in the dairy or in the tea, for example. Um, Once the bacteria ferments that carbohydrate, the end product of that fermentation process is the good stuff. So you get polyphenols, you get different enzymes, you get bioactive peptides, you get fatty acids, you get organic acids like short chain fatty acids, which are nearly miraculous in the things that they can do. So if you have enough short chain fatty acids, that's going to be good for your immune system. It's going to be good for your gut integrity, so it helps prevent something called leaky gut. It's going to be good for your metabolism. It's going to be good. It's going to be good for your level of inflammation. It does so many good things. But if your gut bacteria don't have the fiber, the carbohydrates to do the fermentation on, you're not going to get any of those signaling molecules. So I'm a huge, huge fan of fermented foods, but fermented foods are sort of, I'll say it this way, they're generally good. We know that people do better if they have some fermented foods versus no fermented foods for all those reasons that I just said. But they're not specific. They're not targeted. They're not like what I would call precision nutrition. And to get to that level, and I'm going to show you how we do that with specific probiotic strains, where we can say this one is going to help the skin, this one is going to help gut motility, this one is going to help I have an example of endurance, this one is going to help your mood state. To get to that level of precision, we have to really think in a much more specific way of what signals are we sending? How are those signals being transmitted? Where are those signals being delivered? And that's where I pull up my favorite graph of all time, which is this one. I love this cartoon because what it shows us is from the bottom of this cartoon is the gut, is your food, and then your microbiome, and then your gut lining, and then the axis, which is your body basically, and then at the very top here you have your blood-brain barrier and your brain. And so what this is showing us is just in a very, very busy way. If we choose the wrong foods, cupcakes and high fat, fried clams and things like that, we're going to create a completely different bacteria profile, your microbiome. That's going to change your mucus lining. That's going to change your gut integrity. That's going to change the signals going across your axis. And look at these signals. Some of these signals are going through your immune system. Some of these signals are going through your stress response system. Some of these signals are inflammatory signals. Some of these signals are neurotransmitters. This is 5-HT. 5-HT is serotonin. GABA is your body's primary relaxing neurotransmitter. This is dopamine. This is norepinephrine, et cetera, et cetera. Right? So just based on the food we choose, or the probiotic strain we choose, or the fiber we choose, we can make a good choice and have over here, we can make a good choice. We can choose to supplement with probiotics or fermented foods or beans or whole grains or whatever, fruits and vegetables. And we can change the level of our microbiome. We can change our gut integrity. We can change our mucus lining. We can change the signals. We can change what's happening in the brain. So I won't spend too much time on this. I could literally talk about this one slide for an hour because there's so much going on here. But this is just another example of what happens in the gut doesn't stay in the gut. It affects the entire body. And if we want to get very, again, precision nutrition, to use that word, we could choose an intervention, a dietary intervention that specifically increases something like serotonin if our objective is to help somebody be less sad or more happy. However you say that is the same, right? Or if we wanted to change dopamine levels to help somebody with their motivation or their drive or their mental focus, or their GABA, and I have a GABA example tonight to help somebody relax in the face of stress or wind down at night so they can fall asleep better, right? So that's where the precision and that's where the understanding of biochemistry comes in, that we can say, oh, okay, there's signals going on here. How do I change this signal that is associated with this outcome? That's why the biochemistry is important. Okay, so let's get into it a little bit. So you understand the microbiome, you understand the importance of gut health, and if you're interested in this kind of stuff, right, go to my YouTube channel and subscribe there. Go to my blog on doctalbot.com, subscribe there, subscribe to the newsletter, and you'll get all this kind of stuff. I do an open call like this every single week. We do a monthly or twice monthly call with our coaches where we really get into the nitty gritty, and we do Q&A and all that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in that, you can join our mental fitness community. So all right, so let's say you're interested now in doing something for your gut health because it could be good for the whole rest of your being. And you go out there and you start looking at probiotics, and you're gonna see just a gobbledygook of all these different lactobacilli, bifidobacterium, lactococcus, bacillus. There's so many of them. Some of them are really hard to pronounce. And it can be a little bit overwhelming. So let me give you just a quick primer of how to read a probiotic label or what to look for when you're looking for probiotics. So every probiotic, when you're looking at a label, needs to have three names, right? So everybody's heard of lactobacillus before, right? Most people will recognize lactobacillus as the one in my yogurt, right? Because and all that tells us, all that lactobacillus tells us is it tells us the shape of the bacteria. Bacillus is a rod shape of a bacteria, and lacto tells us that it likes to eat lactose, right? That's a sugar in dairy, in milk. And so that's all it tells us. That doesn't tell us too much. Acidophilus is its sort of middle name. Acidophilus tells us that it likes acid. It likes a slightly acid environment. It's one of the reasons that fermented foods are good for us, because fermented foods will actually make our intestines, the colon, the large intestine, will actually make it slightly acidic. And that's the environment that lactobacilli like to live in. So if you have a slightly acidic gut, then that's going to grow a lot of lactobacillus. And if you have a lot of lactobacillus, it's going to keep the gut being a little bit acidic. And that's a good thing. You don't want it too acidic. You don't want it to be not acidic enough. You want it to be just acidic, like just the Goldilocks approach, so to speak. Why? Because bifidobacterium let me go back one slide. These guys, Bifidobacterium, they like to live in a slightly acidic environment. So you want to have some lactobacillus around, Lactobacillus acidophilus, because they make the slightly acidic environment, and that encourages the growth of these Bifidobacterium, and those are the ones that make a lot of the signaling molecules that we want. The neurotransmitters, so we feel good, the short chain fatty acids, so that our metabolism is where it needs to be, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a team approach. The name that matters, though, when you're looking at probiotics is this last one, this strain designation. So the first name is the genus, the next one is the species, the third one is the strain. And the strain is usually some combination of letters and numbers. This is what we look at and we go, aha, this W55 tells me that this strain of Lactobacillus acidophilus does something specific. There could be, I'm just going to say this for sake of argument, right? I don't know that this is true. There could be a W56 or W57 that do completely different things than the W55, right? Well, I'll show you examples of that, like actual examples of that as we go through the next few slides. But you need to see all three names on your label. If you don't want that product. That whoever made that product doesn't understand that the strain tells us exactly what it does. It tells us how to store it. Do we have to keep it refrigerated or can it sit at room temperature? It will tell us, do we need to protect it from stomach acid or not? It might be a strain that can survive stomach acid, and great. But the strain designation will tell us that. If you don't know the strain, you honestly don't have very much idea at all about what it does. Okay, so um, so there, that's that. And somebody just put into the chat. Hello, I just completed the mental wellness coach program. How do I join the mental wellness community for coaches? So Rebecca, there'll be an area in the same community where you took all the modules. There'll be a post in there where you can where it says community, right? You should be able to access that community. There's also a secondary community you can request to be added to on a platform called School. So there'll be an area right in there that says community, and if you click on that, you'll be able to go in and see all the different chats and things like that. Okay, and if you have trouble finding that, email me and we can send you specific links. Okay, so you have to know genus, species, and strain. And this might sound a little complicated, but it might help you if you think of dogs. Um, Dogs are all the same species, right? Every dog on the planet, including wolves, are all the same species. But look at all those different dogs up there, right? What you're looking at, the differences are breeds. So you can think of a probiotic strain is like picking a specific breed. And you can think of, some breeds of dogs are good at certain things and not good at other things. So here's a German Shepherd. German Shepherds terrify me. They always look. They could be lovely dogs, but they always look like they want to bite my face. They're guard dogs, right? That's a particular kind of dog. This little guy, I don't know what he is. I don't know, a Shih Tzu or something. I don't know dogs very well. I have a dog. I love my dog. She's a spaniel. She loves to chase birds. She is a terrible guard dog, right? But so the idea is you would never walk into a pet store and say, "Hey, do you have any dogs? I'm in the market for a dog. I'll just take whatever dog you have back there." But that's exactly what a lot of people do when they walk into the supplement store or they go looking on, a supplement website and they go, "Yeah, I'm looking for a probiotic." Well, what do you want it to do? Are you looking for a guard dog? That's a very specific thing. You should think of probiotics the exact same way. Maybe you're not a dog person, right? So maybe you're a car person. You probably don't hear very many people say like, "Oh, I drive a Ford." Well, do they drive a Ford truck like an F-150, or do they drive a Ford sports car like a Mustang, or they drive something in the middle like an SUV? That's the same kind of an idea, right? You don't want to think of dogs. You don't want to think of cars. You want to think of as specific as possible, and that's what strain designations are with probiotics. Okay, so let's talk about some of the. Oh, that's a Yorkie. Thanks a lot. I love the chat. I keep it running up here so I can see. And Mary's husband has both an F-150 and a Mustang, right? But he doesn't take the Mustang to Home Depot, right? That isn't what you do with that, right? So there. That's the important of understanding what the different strains do. So the biggest mistakes that people make when they're out there looking at all these different biotics, the biggest biotics blunders are here. The first one is making the mistake that more CFUs is better. So CFUs stands for colony forming units. That's one of the ways. It's actually like the standard way to measure the strength of a probiotic. People will think, well, 10 billion is good. Well, wait a minute. Here's one that has 50 billion. That must be better. Here's another that has 100 billion. That must be even better. I'm going to get the 100 billion. But the 100 billion could actually be too much for you depending on the strain and depending on the benefit that you're looking for. That might actually disrupt your microbiome instead of balance your microbiome. Okay, so we'll talk more about CFUs in just a minute. But if you know the strain that you're looking for, that strain designation will tell you how many CFUs you need to deliver the benefit that that strain is able to deliver. Okay, I'll give you specific examples in a second. Mistake number two: buying generic probiotics. So I think I made that point already. You don't want just Lactobacillus acidophilus or Bifidobacterium lactis. That's only the genus and species. You want to know the strain because that's what's going to tell you what it does. Okay, and if you don't know the strain, you're guessing. And so the genus species that you're buying may or may not do anything, and may or may not do something that could be opposite of what you're trying to get in terms of a benefit. Mistake number three: buying a product that doesn't tell you the benefit, right? So supports digestive health is one of my, I just, it just makes me crazy when I see these generic claims on bottles and websites and things like that. I understand why companies do it. There's a I don't want to get too much into the regulatory of how supplements are regulated, but if you get too specific about what a particular product does, some of the regulatory bodies can take you to task and say like, well, does it really do exactly that? So, one approach is to say, well, let's just be as generic as possible, and then nobody can call us on anything, right? I go the other way and try to almost over explain about here's what it does, here's how we think it works, here's how the signaling happens, here's serotonin, here's short chain fatty acids, blah, 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 blah. Different strokes for different folks, I guess. I think a better label is to be as specific as possible that it's studied for bloating or vaginal health or stress resilience. Those are all very, very different benefits. And you want to know this strain does this benefit. The strains typically don't do everything, right? Typically, a strain will do one or two things really, really well. The overall product could do a lot of different things, but it's because of the combination of ingredients, not because of one super duper strain that's doing everything under the sun. And then this last one I wanted to highlight is ignoring the rest of the formula. So I think the future, and I talked about this a couple weeks ago, the future of biotics is going away from just probiotics or just blends of probiotics into a world of synbiotics, synergistic biotics, where you see lots of companies now combining probiotics, the bacteria, with the prebiotics to try to get a synergistic effect. And now you're seeing other formulas come out that are, even more ingredients, right? Trying to come at this gut brain axis or gut skin axis or gut endocrine axis, etc., from a systems perspective, saying, okay, this thing will do A, and this other thing will do B, and this other thing will do C, and then we can have a more holistic, comprehensive product that does A, B, and C. Okay, so that I think is where most of this is going, because we're realizing again what happens in the gut doesn't stay in the gut. Okay, so we can take advantage of that. So here's a few examples. I'm going to go through, and I've got a bunch of examples for you here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 good examples. Okay, and I'll have some bad examples sort of weaved through. So here's what I formulated this product for a previous company, and the idea here was, we know that consumers are looking for quote unquote probiotics, right? Lots of people are looking for probiotics in quotes, if you can see my video, because they've heard that they're good for them. And so there's lots of people out there saying like, yeah, I've heard a lot about probiotics, I've heard a lot about gut health. I probably should be doing something in that category. They don't necessarily have a specific goal in mind. They just want their gut to be healthier, right? That's got to be a good thing. And so a formula like this, and I'll show you another one in just a second that I really like, is sort of a broad spectrum general wellness formula. This particular one is in an acid resistant capsule because once we know these strains, the strain will tell us what it does. And I'm not going to read through all of these, but here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different strains that all do different things that are kind of general wellness benefits, compete with bad bacteria, reduces gastrointestinal discomfort caused by stress, help with mineral absorption, modulate immune function, beneficial for occasional diarrhea and constipation after probiotic treatment. So after you take that, actually that should say antibiotic treatment. After you take an antibiotic, usually your gut is kind of like wonky for a few days. This Lactobacillus rhamnosus LR32, that's the strain designation, is good at helping to rebalance that motility after antibiotic therapy. So you can see there's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and this might be good for someone who just wants sort of a general broad spectrum probiotic because they think that's what they need. Okay, that's great, but it's not doing anything specific necessarily, right? It's not solving a unique problem. It's just sort of generally good. Okay, here's another one that a very popular product. This one is from a company called Seed. So if you went and Googled, you know, science-based probiotic or something like that, this would probably be at the top of your Google hits, right? They do a lot of advertising, and it's actually a very good formula. I recommend this for people sometimes if they're looking for a broad spectrum, sort of everything under the sun, help my gut in a myriad of ways, general probiotic. But look at how it is. It's two caps. It's a digestive health blend, and it's a whole bunch of them. Micronutrient synthesis blend, a whole bunch of them. One of the things your microbiome does is it actually makes nutrients, B vitamins, vitamin K, etc. Dermatological health blend. So I told you I was going to talk about some specific ones that help with skin health. Here are a few of those. I'll talk about another one in just a second. In fact, it's on the next slide. Cardiovascular health blend. They have, remember I said that a lot of companies are starting to combine different biotics. So here you've got a whole bunch of different probiotics. And now here is a polyphenol, which I would call a phytobiotic. This is a particular pomegranate blend that has some polyphenols that will help to protect those bacteria and help with the gut lining and help with the gut integrity and help with the gut environment and things like that. So this is a very, very nice blend. Something I want to point out here is that they make a big deal. There's a couple of companies. Seed is one of them. Perpetuum is one of them. Oh, no, I'm sorry, not Perpetuum. Pendulum is one of them that sells a bunch of Akkermansia strains. They don't measure in CFUs. They measure in something called AFUs. You can see it here. 38.7 billion AFUs, 7.32 billion AFUs. AFUs is just a different way of measuring bacterial counts. So CFU is kind of the standard colony forming units, but there are a lot of bacteria that don't form colonies. They just like to form a colony, you have to like plate it out in a laboratory and actually be able to like visually count the bacteria. But not all cells are forming colonies, even though they're delivering health benefits. So there's another way called active fluorescent units, where you actually tag the bacteria with a fluorescent tag, and then you can measure it using a machine. So this product, Zenith, we measure both. We measure CFUs and AFUs because we've got a variety of different strains in here. So some companies do CFUs, some do AFUs. We do both just to sort of cover the fact that we're getting the right amount of the strains that we want. So that in case you see that on some of the products, it's just a different way of counting. So here's a strain that helps your skin. It's called Lactobacillus sacchi. So genus, species, and then the strain designation is this right here. Probio 65 is the name of the strain. This is it's not really a probiotic, it's a postbiotic because it's been pasteurized, it's been heat treated, and it's been isolated from kimchi. So yet another benefit of kimchi. It helps with immune system modulation. It helps with inflammation modulation. And the reason you would want to take something like this is because it helps with something called atopic dermatitis, which you probably know as eczema. Eczema is the most common form of AD. This is the gut skin axis. So there are in the studies on this Lactobacillus sacchi 65, there are like dramatic before after pictures showing eczema patches
before supplementation. And if you can see me, I'm pointing to like the inside of my elbow. Usually eczema will show itself on the inside of your elbow and the back part of your knees, especially in kids. And it's flaky, it's itchy, sometimes it's painful. It doesn't look nice. It's a big hassle. Um, so if you supplement with this, you can see the before after pictures, which I said are dramatic, red, flaky, itchy, and then gone. Within a pretty short amount of time, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, that sort of line. But here's an example of a very specific effect, eczema, by using a very specific strain of bacteria. That's the gut skin axis in action. So that's a benefit. But if this is not the benefit you're looking for, then it's not a benefit, right? So like if eczema is not your problem, then you're not interested in this. You would like this would be something you would look at and go, well, uh, I don't really care about that, right? So this is not beneficial for you. That's why it's important to understand strain designation. Okay. Um, and let me see, there's a couple notes in here. Really a huge eczema market for that supplement if there was an easy to consume kids version. Yeah, yeah, definitely. So probably how this is working is it's modulating the immune system, it's reducing inflammation, but it's probably also having a benefit on reducing leaky gut because eczema seems to be really, really associated with leaky gut. And so if you have leaky gut, that's leading to the immune system being overactivated. That's leading to more inflammation. So, again, understanding the biochemistry, you can go, well, how is this helping my skin clear up? Well, it's because it's reducing inflammation. Well, how is it doing that? Because it's calming the immune system. Well, how is it doing that? Because it's improving my gut integrity, reducing my leaky gut. Aha. Okay. Eureka. So like that's why I like to sort of, go down the rabbit hole of the biochemistry, right? And here's a problem. So if a company put this into, like somebody said in the chat, this would be great for a kid's version. I totally agree. What if they took this and it's a postbiotic, so it would go into a gummy. You could put it into a gummy and it would have good stability. It's already dead, so it doesn't have to be kept viable. You put it in a kid's gummy and you say it helps eczema. Well, you just broke the law, right? Because now you've marketed that product to treat a disease, right? That's a no-no. You're not allowed to do that. Well, okay, what if the company said, okay, here's this gummy, here's this healthy kids skin gummy. Okay, well, now mom's going to look at it and go, what does that mean? Does that mean it's going to help my kids' pimples? Does it mean it's going to help is it going to help mom's wrinkles? Is it going to help like what? That doesn't tell me a lot, right? So to my point earlier about being very generic, are you going to sell it? Do people know what it is and what the benefits are? Are you going to be very, very specific? This is what it actually does. This is what the science says. Well, we're not allowed to say that. You have to put on, we have to put on the, whatever the earmuffs are for your mouth, right? You can't talk about that. So where do you go in the middle? And you have to get a little bit, you have to get a little creative with that, and that can be challenging sometimes. Okay, let's look at some. Rosacea, that's a good question. I don't know. Question in the chat. Would that be good for rosacea? I'm not sure. Well, let's go back and let's think about this. So rosacea is more of like a blood flow kind of a thing, but it has an inflammatory component. So maybe, but I'm not aware of that it would specifically help with that. Like that's why I gave those other examples. I don't think it's going to help with pimples. I don't think it's going to help with wrinkles. Even those are skin benefits. The research shows that it really helps with eczema. So for rosacea, there might be something else you could do, like a pine bark or a turmeric or something else. Well, let's not go down that rabbit hole too much. Okay, here's another example. So here's an example for digestive comfort, and the example I'm going to give you is a probiotic you can find at every grocery store in America or every pharmacy in America at least. This is called Align. It's probably $1 billion brand. It's been around for 20 or so years. Has a lot of great research on it. Here's the supplement facts panel. What I think is interesting about this one is that it is one strain that helps with bloating. That's what it does. It does it well. It doesn't do very much of anything else. So the pros, one defined strain, very specific benefit, decades of research. So we know it works. We know what it does. We know what strain is doing it. The cons is that it doesn't do anything else, right? It's not designed for mood or sleep or performance or anything else, skin health, right? So the Lactobacillus sacchi 65, very specific eczema. This one, Align, Bifidobacterium longum, and here's the strain designation 35624. Really rolls off the tongue. That very specifically does bloating. And there. So if bloating is your issue, get Align. If eczema is your issue, find a product with Lactobacillus sacchi 65. But if you want other benefits, those aren't going to do it for you, right? So, like, is this a good product or a bad product? It depends on the benefit you're looking for. If this solves your problem, it's an amazing product. If your problem is eczema, this is an awful product, right? So you get the point there. But Align is one that I recommend for people all the time if their problem is bloating. Here's another one that I recommend all the time, Culturelle. It's also a big mainstream brand. This is really, really good after you go on a course of antibiotics. So I was texting with somebody last night. They originally asked me a question through Instagram, based on a post that I did, and I answered a couple of their questions, and they came back to me on text and said, "Hey, I just got diagnosed." So I recommended a product to them. They came back and said, "Hey, I didn't take it yet because my doctor diagnosed me with SIBO, small intestinal bacteria overgrowth, and they said don't start a probiotic product until the SIBO is gone." And I said, "I agree." So go through your antibiotics. When your course of antibiotics is over, then here's my SIBO protocol to help rebuild your microbiome. Um, and start taking the supplement then. And this is one of the things that I recommend because Culturelle has a strain called Lactobacillus rhamnosus GG is the strain designation that really helps with uh, antibiotic associated diarrhea. So this is different than bloating. This is different than eczema. You guys get the idea, right? It's a very, very specific effect. And so here's the Lactobacillus rhamnosus GG strain. The CFU count that you're looking for is 10 billion. Does that mean that 20 billion is going to be better or you're like, so this is one capsule. Should you take a handful of capsules so you get 50 billion or 100 billion? No. The strain designation, this Lactobacillus rhamnosus GG, we know that 10 billion is the effective level. So there, take the effective level. And that's, companies that understand this strain specificity idea, they'll use the research strain and they'll use it at the level that it was used at in the clinical trials, right? Because you want to deliver the benefit. But here's the cons, right? If you just went through your course of antibiotics and now you're trying to rebuild your microbiome so you don't have this post antibiotic diarrhea, it's not going to help with other things. It's not going to help your constipation, right? That's a whole nother thing. That's the opposite of what this one does. Okay. So, a lot of times the cons aren't really cons. They're just that this is a product that does this, but not that. And so, the whole moral of the story that runs through the thread that runs through this whole presentation is figure out what benefit you want first, and then there's probably a strain that does that. Okay. Culturelle was my first introduction. I'm just reading something from the chat. Culturelle was my first introduction to probiotics 12 years ago to support my autistic son during double round of antibiotics. Yep. After the month on it, we realized his intention and compliance was better, as well as his first words came and a heart. So I bought more, and we've moved into even better ones now. Oh, thanks to me. Yeah, yeah. You are welcome. Here's an example for women's health, right? So this one doesn't apply to me, right? I have no interest in this one because this is not on my radar except for like to be an educator. So this is one called Femdophilus, company called Jarrow. It's for vaginal health. So this one is two specific strains. This strain GR1 and this strain RC14. They have really good research, and here you can see them here, lactobacillus. So sometimes you're going to see lactobacillus, sometimes you're going to see lactocacibacillus. They're the same. They're just different ways of naming the same bacteria. So lactobacillus rhamnosus GR1. This is also a lactobacillus with a different name, reuteri RC14. These have very, very good data for vaginal yeast infections. So if a woman has recurrent yeast infections, right? Yeast infection that comes and then she takes an antibiotic to get rid of it, but then it comes back and it comes back and it comes back. A blend like this can be really, really effective at stopping that cycle, right? Getting rid of that recurrence of those vaginal yeast infections. But think about that. That is a very, very highly targeted kind of a benefit. Really, really good research for that effect. But if again, it's different than eczema, it's different than bloating, it's different than antibiotic associated diarrhea. It's its own thing. Okay. And that's why it's so important to understand these strains, or at least understand that the benefit you're looking for probably has a strain that delivers that benefit because of all that we're learning about, the gut, whatever axis that we're talking about. But this isn't going to help you with your general digestion, right? This, if you're the person who says, yeah, maybe I'll get a probiotic because it's probably generally good for me. This is not a generally good for you probiotic formula. It's a fantastic probiotic formula if you're trying to solve that specific problem. Okay. Stress and sleep. So this is one that I love, and I've known about this strain for 5 years now, at least. And I'm shocked that it's not in lots and lots of products right now. I actually don't think it's commercially available anywhere. Disclosure, I'm launching a product with this strain in a month or two, right? We're just finalizing our packaging for this. So this strain is called LP815. If you can see the small type, it's a lactoplantis bacillus, so a lactobacillus plantarum 815. So that's where the LP comes from, Lactobacillus plantarum 815. This is a strain of bacteria that makes GABA. So there's lots of Lactobacillus rhamnosus strains that can make GABA. There's a lot of Lactobacillus plantarum strains that can make GABA. GABA is your body's primary relaxing neurotransmitter. So GABA helps us calm down and relax when we're stressed out. It helps us wind down at night. It's the thing that helps us fall asleep, or let me restate that. It's the thing that helps us relax enough to fall asleep when we're trying to go to sleep at night. So if you don't have enough GABA, you're stressed, you're tense, you're irritable, and you can't wind down. That's the person they lie down at night and their head just keeps spinning, right? That's a lack of GABA. So this bacteria makes GABA about triple any of the other genus species that have ever been looked at. So the company that makes this is called Prebiotics, and they make a specific strain. It helps with stress, it helps with sleep, and it gives us prolonged release of GABA. So you can go out and you can buy GABA. You can buy synthetic GABA, and you can take it. And if you take it, it will immediately, like really immediately, like within 30 minutes, calm you down, right? And that's an okay approach if you want to take a synthetic version of GABA just to take the edge off. The problem with doing that is that you have to do it all the time. What if you could take a probiotic that now sort of makes GABA on demand? So you make more of it when you need more of it, you make less of it when you need less of it, right? That would be a really cool thing. That's what this does, right? Which is one of the reasons that I'm really interested in it, right? I study a lot about stress, and this seems like teaching your microbiome to be better at its normal handling of your stress response, which I think is an amazing thing. And so that's what the mechanism of action is. You supplement with it, your microbiome changes, so now your gut can help your brain regulate better. And once your brain regulates better, then that sends good signals to your gut, and you get into this virtuous cycle of your gut brain microbiome axis putting you in the right mood state when you need it. Okay, so that could be good for your stress levels during the day. It could be good for your sleep levels at night. So the benefit of all these stress regulation, sleep quality, psychobiotic applications, but you're not trying to improve digestion with this, right? This isn't going to do anything for your bloating. It's not going to do anything for your diarrhea. It's not going to do anything for your constipation. It's not a general, good for my gut health blend. It's one specific thing that's trying to modulate the gut brain axis. So, again, that might be good for lots of people, but if that's not what you're looking for, then this is not the right strain for you. Here's a really specialized one. This is one that I actually buy myself, and I use it on a regular basis. Oh, so sorry. Let me go back real quick. This is called V. nella. It's sort of a take on the strain of the bacteria. This is this specific strain right here. So Veillonella atypica, and the strain designation is FB0054. The FB stands for the company that makes it, Phytobiotics. So this is the strain. I've talked about it with my students sometimes because it's kind of a cool origin story. They isolated this strain from elite marathon runners at the Boston Marathon. The elite runners had a lot more of this strain than the non-elite runners, and they theorized that this might be one reason that they have better endurance. And that's exactly what happened. They've done a bunch of studies. They put it into mice. The mice run longer. The mice metabolize lactic acid better. So I supplement myself with this because I'm an endurance athlete, and I want to see if I can get these benefits in my microbiome to help my muscles metabolize lactic acid better so that I have better endurance performance. Okay. And like I said, there's good studies that show that. So the benefit here is endurance and exercise performance and recovery. And it doesn't have anything to do with gut health except for the fact that it works in the gut to have this benefit in the rest of the body. Okay, it's really more of a performance thing than it is a gut health thing, but it is a gut health thing because that's how it works, and that's why we talk through all these biochemical pathways. Okay. Here's one for resilience, and this is where I will talk about Zenith just very briefly. So this one is a multibiotic, right? I call it a protobiotic because it has probiotics. It's got four in this blend called bifazin. It's got a postbiotic called Akkermansia. This is a strain designation, AKK001. It has two different prebiotics, and this Microbiome X is actually a blend of two prebiotics from two different citrus fruits. Suntheanine, enzogenol is a pine bark. Venetron is a something called rafuma leaf that helps with mood, and then Vigritonin is a patented American ephedra. So you put all of these different biotics together, and you get something that works through the gut, but it's not a digestion effect. It's not a motility effect. It's not an anti-bloating effect. It's the goal is to use the gut to improve the signaling across the gut-brain axis, so you get the effects of mood, motivation, energy, focus, stress resilience. Okay, so like that's another example of, somebody could look at that and go, well, it's gut, but I don't have any gut problems, so why would I be interested in Zenith? Well, you'd be interested in Zenith to help with your stress resilience, not to help your gut issues, so to speak. Okay, just like all those other examples. And here are the ingredients in Zenith, and they're all research based. So of these 8 blends, there's actually 12 ingredients because 2 are in Microbiome X and 4 are in bifazin. So you get 12 ingredients that are all gut, but it's gut for to manifest your ability to handle stress better. Okay, so that's an example of this. Like, how do you do gut health the right way? So what you want to make sure you avoid, don't fall into the trap of going after the highest CFUs or going after the longest list of bacteria that you see on a label. To do gut health right, identify the outcome you're looking for, right? Is it bloating? Is it stress? Is it immune support? Is it vaginal health? Is it endurance? What? That's probably the most important thing. It's less important that you take a probiotic. It's more important that you take something or do something that delivers the benefit you're looking for. And, like I said a couple of times now, the benefit you're looking for probably has a biotic, intervention that can be part of your overall regimen. So definitely go and seek that out. Find the strains that deliver that outcome. Don't fall into the CFU arms race. I mentioned this already that the strain will determine the CFUs needed. Ignore the strains count arm race, right? So like don't just look for like, oh, this one has 2 strains, this one has 5 strains, this one has 10 strains. The one with 10 must be better. Not necessarily. And like we looked at that seed label. That seed label probably had 20 or 30 different bacteria in it. Does that make it good? Not necessarily if those aren't the benefits that you're looking for. Okay. By evidence, not hype. And I'll say it one more time. The companies that use the research validated strains are going to go out of their way, like I'm doing right now, to explain to you this is why we use this strain. This is why we use this many CFUs or AFUs. This is why we combine it with this other biotic or synbiotic or whatever. Like ask the questions because the companies that have the real deal they're gonna want to tell you why, not just take this, you'll feel better, take this, you'll get the benefit. They're gonna want to explain their thinking behind all of it because that's what the cool, exciting science is. So the future of gut health is this. It's not about more biotics. It's about more precision. It's about getting the right biotics and combining them with the right other biotics to deliver the right ones for you. Okay. So hopefully that came across. I'm gonna look into the chat one more time real quick. Um, and I'm going to end with this stuff. So these are all the places to find me, especially the YouTube channel, right? So this is where all the master classes will go up. You can subscribe there. You can share them, out to your social medias to get people interested in this kind of stuff. Definitely check out our certification course. Check out our community. Check out the free ebooks and things like that. I try to make as much information out there available as possible because the more people who can understand this kind of stuff, the more people who can understand that the gut affects everything in the rest of the body, and we can affect the gut in some very precise, very effective, very safe um, uh, modalities. It's going to help a lot of people. Okay. Thanks a lot for joining me tonight, you guys. I'm going to end my share and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.